dear Whit. So, the horse is doing good. She's big. Horses get so fucking big, dude. And I think that she's on the bigger side, so she's big. She's a big horse. And she's finally running around, so that's been really nice. Those first few steps, man, it's like seeing a watermelon propped up on chopsticks. And you think, damn, this might take a while. But then they figure it out somehow. I don't know, I guess they're wired for it. So, yeah, so she's been running all over. And man, gotta say, I fucking love the sound of a galloping horse. I think it's been the best part about having a horse around. Just the sound of galloping. It's just the fucking best. I'm probably making this up or butchering it, but I think that there's this Buddhist thing where they say that when you die and your body's laying there, your soul is still kind of hanging around and it can hear stuff. And so the monks chant to help you move on to wherever you're supposed to go next. And I think for me, you can skip all the chanting. I don't know any of that. But maybe you could like tie my corpse to a horse and just let it run around for a while in a field somewhere. And yeah. And then I think I would reach nirvana. I just fucking love that sound. So yeah, it's been nice. I'm on the farm pretty much all day these days. It's not too hard. You know, you keep the trough filled with water, food, clean up some shit here and there. And then the rest of the day, you just kind of watch them run around. If it's hard, it's just because, you know, it's a lot of time to watch a horse run around. It's nice, but, you know, it's a lot of time. Lately, I've been learning to appreciate, I think of it as like useless fascination. You know, you watch a horse all day and your first impulse is to like imagine, like, what are they thinking about? You know, they're running around and they stop and you think, well, okay, well, why did they stop? Did they think of something? Did they have like a memory? Or, you know, did they think about something else that they wanted to do? Did they see something? Maybe they saw something on the ground. You know, and then they start staring at the ground really intently and you think, oh man, maybe they found something really fascinating. You know, like really, you know, something that's like blowing their mind. Maybe like a purple flower, you know, and they're just now for the first time really experiencing, you know, purple. Like the orbits of their mind finally floated into alignment and now like purple has become this like profound, transcendent experience. And like they're not even a horse anymore. They're like over and above being a horse. So you walk over and see what they're staring at, and it's like a weed or like just some little rock or like a fucking piece of the ground. And you want to think, well, okay, maybe they're still having some kind of profound internal experience, but it's just they're just like staring past the ground, or they're really just focused on whatever's in their mind. But then you think, I don't know, maybe not. Maybe they're just staring at a fucking piece of ground and that's that. It's just a useless fascination. Like if you look down at your shirt and you see the logo of the shirt company, you don't try and figure out what the symbol means or who drew it or how it's attached to the shirt or how it got to the store or, any of that. And you also don't stare at it and think about a million other unrelated things. You don't think about anything. You just stare at it and think about nothing. And you keep staring and you keep thinking about nothing. That happens sometimes. Not every fascination is profound. So yeah, now sometimes I go out and the horses staring at some grass, and I stare at the grass, and we stare at the grass together. And then eventually they decide to walk somewhere else, and I go back to wherever I was, and that's that. Doesn't need to be any more than that. And I go back to fucking raking hay. I'm always fucking raking hay. I don't know why. It just ends up all over the place again anyways, like almost immediately. But fucking boss likes it in a pile, so I'm always raking up hay. It's not like I have something else I could be doing, but I don't know. I just feel like I'm always raking. Rake the hay, fill the trough, scoop some shit. Sometimes I take a break, watch the horse run around, and that's my day. And then in the evening, I go and I do these little letters, and I make my cartoon, and I go to bed. That's pretty much it. So in our bedroom, we have this plant that hangs between two windows. It was one of those patches of wall that kind of looks really empty if you don't put something there. So we put a hanging pot with one of those really hardy ivy plants that you can get at the grocery store. It looks nice, and now the wall doesn't look empty, so that's good. But this plant is hanging directly over a giant, 3-foot tall pre-war radiator that gets absolutely hot as fuck in the winter. Whenever it's on, we have to open the windows because it gets so fucking hot. And the colder it is outside, the hotter the radiator gets, and then the more we have to open the windows, and it's this vicious cycle. And this plant is directly above it. And so all winter, this plant is just fucking cooking. And it's just wilted straight down. And I try to water it more, but it doesn't seem to do anything. But it's not turning yellow or anything, so I don't think it's dying, but it's just completely lost the will to fight gravity. And I keep thinking I should move it, but I don't. So all winter, every morning, I wake up, I roll over, I open my eyes, and then the first thing I do in my day is I stare at this wilted plant. And then eventually the horse comes in and I get out of bed. But yeah, it'll be nice when winter's finally over. We're almost there, I think. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I know we haven't really talked in a while, but I feel like that covers most of it. How have you been? How are your projects? How's your horses? I know you're probably busy, but, write me back if you get the time. It'd be nice to hear from you. Sincerely, Ryan.